Hi there, Jen here, Positive Plus Dog Training. Oh, and of course, we have our audience. Hey, Xavier. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Kongs. So the common question that I have is, how do I use my Kong? Commonly, I hear that maybe either our pups don't like the Kong, they get frustrated with it, or they don't know how to use it. Or maybe we don't know how to use it. So we're going to talk about the Kong and how we can use this for some really good mental stimulation and to give us some time to ourselves as well. So we can keep our pups busy, have them burn some brain energy, have them eat their breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and we can do our own thing as well. So Kong comes in many shapes and sizes. So I've got a little bit of a line up here. So the first thing that's really important when we are talking about a Kong is to make sure that we have selected the right Kong. So with puppies, we want to make sure we have the puppy Kong. So the puppy Kong is one of these smaller ones that generally are either that pink or blue marble color. That's the puppy Kong. It's a softer rubber, so it's easier for them to use, yeah, so that's the puppy Kong. And then there's also the next size up. There's the small Kong. Then we have the medium, and then we'll have one this size that is, the medium, the large, and the extra large. So we want to pick the Kong that we have that is most appropriate for our dog. So we're going to pick a size that is small enough that our dogs can actually enjoy it, pick it up, and move it around. But we want to make sure that there's two things we want to make sure of. It's not small enough that they can swallow it by accident, and because it is, when the rubber gets covered in saliva, it can get slippery, so we want to be careful of that. And we also want to be careful that the hole on the bottom is not big enough or just big enough that they can potentially get their lower jaw stuck in it. So as long as we pick the right size, we should be pretty safe. It's a pretty safe toy. We do, of course, want to always make sure with any toy that we give our dogs or any treat that we give our dogs, we want to make sure that it is the right size for them and that we watch them the first few times to make sure that they are playing with them safely and appropriately. That's super important. And with a Kong, once we have observed them and observed that they are cleaning out the Kong and they know how to use the Kong, it is generally one of the safest toys that we can leave them with. All right. So, and again, one more item. It doesn't have to be a Kong. This is sort of our large and then the extra large. But the large one here is actually an eggplant. This one's from Planet Dog. So you can always use a different product. It doesn't have to be exactly a Kong. These ones are, there's different shapes of these ones as well that are they're some of my favorites. As long as it is a rubber that's not going to break off easily in chunks if they are chewing it. And of course, if you do have a big chewer, then we're going to use a black Kong. Those are made for dogs that like to, that really like to rip things apart. Okay, all right, so here we go. We're going to make our Kong. So generally, when I first introduce a Kong to a young pup, I'm going to take something sticky. So here I have some homemade applesauce. This is apple mango sauce, actually. There's a little bit of honey in it because it's also made for kids. But you don't even need to use the honey if you're making this for your dogs. Just throw in some apples. I threw in some mango in here as well. You just put it in the blender with some water. And there you go. You've got yourself some nice homemade sugar-free applesauce. I do have a little bit of peanut butter here that I'm going to use. I do strongly suggest that you use sugar-free natural peanut butter. And in particular, if there are sugars in it, that they are real sugars and not artificial sugars. Okay, so with our first time young pup, we are going to take a little bit of applesauce or maybe even some peanut butter, but I like to stay to some more natural products for puppies, and I'm just going to line the top ring. So we can line the top ring all the way around inside, and we can drop either a couple kibbles in Or I'm gonna reach into my little friend over here, and I've got some freeze-dried liver. So I can drop in a little piece of freeze-dried liver, and that's all that I need for a new dog. So I'm gonna give that to my friend Xavier to lick on that. Okay, and now with our medium to large size Kongs, when we're feeding more of a meal, as our dogs get better at cleaning the Kong out. So with the small Kong, you're going to put more and more stuff in it over time. And then slowly what we're working our way towards is being able to actually feed a full meal out of the Kong. And so what I'm going to do here is I really like to put the yummiest thing on the bottom. So I'm going to take one of these little bone cookies that I have. I'm going to scoop up some peanut butter. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the Kong. So that way the peanut butter can be smelt from the bottom of the Kong. That's really kind of cool. And then what I'm going to do, I'm feeding this is going to be a meal for my dog. So I'm taking some Kong, some kibble, and I'm putting that into a bowl. I'm going to add some of that applesauce. I'm going to actually mix the applesauce in with the kibble. So that gets a little bit of sauce on each piece of kibble. And then when I have some sauce on each piece of kibble, I could even throw in a few pieces of liver or some of your dog's favorite treats. If they really like fruit, I also like to throw in some fruit in here as well sometimes, but I've already got the apple and the mango in the sauce. And then I'm going to pile that in on top. Now remember that this is more advanced. Make sure that your dog can clean out your Kong lined with something gooey and sticky with a couple of kibble and cookies in it loosely in there before you pack it. But once they are cleaning that out, then we can go ahead and mix it up like this. And I'm purposely sneaking some of that liver on the top. And what I'm also going to do, as well as the liver on the top, just to make the top, make it really attractive, is I'm going to put some peanut butter on the top there, closing up that hole. And then I'm going to dig into my Boston Terrier without a head right now. And there is a fun piece of sweet potato, dried sweet potato, and I'm going to wedge that on the top. Now this is a nicely stuffed Kong that I'm going to give to my dog who is getting used to a more packed Kong. Once my dog can clean this out just like this, then I'm going to stuff it pretty much the same. I can pack it even more. So I have a big cookie on the bottom, kind of using up a lot of the space here. I might choose to put more smaller pieces of kibble or other treats in the bottom there to pack it a bit more the next time. And then following that, I'm going to actually put this in the freezer. The first time I put it in the freezer, I'm going to put it in the freezer for at least 15-20 minutes, and then from there I'm going to work my way up to even having a couple Kongs in the freezer overnight. I have a super excitable Xavier here, and Pepper also. I'll just show you how nicely they're both waiting for their Kongs. Well, there's Pepper waiting so nicely for her Kong. I'm going to stuff the Eggplant for Xavier, because he's a pretty big boy. So again, I'm going to take my cookie, scoop up some peanut butter, put that into the bottom. So there's some peanut butter at the bottom with that cookie. I'm going to pack this stuff in here. I think I can also have a little fun with adding a couple more pieces of liver in between. 1, 2. You can also use sugar-free canned pumpkin. You can add some carrots in here, so blend some carrots up. They really like that. Sweet potato, blended sweet potato. You can go ahead and use some leftover meats and put that in the blender. Make it really interesting so that your dog really wants to clean out this Kong, because I promise you that once they are used to enjoying a frozen stuffed Kong, when they're done with that, they will most likely soothe themselves to sleep. Just a little added piece of information, if you haven't heard me say it already, is that biologically, the digestion process and licking action are both very calming things for dogs and help to calm their brain and create more balance. So I really like to feed a dog their breakfast in a Kong or another food toy. I really like to leave a Kong with my dog if I'm going to be gone for a little while, so that he's got something to do, and he's going to probably take a nap when he's finished that Kong and be rested when I come home. And then again, I'm going to dig into here and I'm going to find a nice piece of freeze-dried sweet potato. So that's the bonus. He's got a wedge out of there. And I am going to now give these two Kongs to my guys, who are nicely and relatively calmly waiting. At least Pepper is. Sit down. Good job. And there is pretty much our midnight snack, but that's okay. It's a nice calm when it's quiet and there's no kids around. So I would like to wish you guys happy Konging. Have a great time with your dogs, and let me know if you have questions. That's it for Kongs and how to make them and how to use them. Bye for now.